Oki Niksukwa. My name is Inge Gene Kinitaniko Pitaki. Welcome to my online Blackfoot Grammar course. In this video, we take a general look at the Blackfoot language and its relations. Before the colonizers from Europe came to North America, original indigenous languages were spoken all over the territory. The Blackfoot language was spoken in a large area in the Northwest, just east of the Rocky Mountains. Blackfoot belongs to a very large and widespread family of languages called Algonquian. This map shows the approximate spread of those languages before the colonial period. In the areas that are not marked on this map, there were languages belonging to other language families. You can see that Blackfoot is the westernmost language in the Algonquian family, and that other languages belong to the same family, such as Gros Ventre, Cheyenne, Arapaho, Cree, Ojibwe, Potawatomi, Menominee, Mi'kmaq, Abenaki, Miami, Illinois, Shawnee, Delaware, Mohican, and many others. Many of the names on this map were given by outsiders, and most of the languages now go by different indigenous names. Many of the languages in the East are no longer spoken, and all the other languages are now also under pressure from English and other colonial languages. This map looks almost the same as the previous one, but if you look carefully, you will see two tiny languages in Northern California called Yurok and Wiyot. In the early 20th century, the linguist Edward Sapir studied these two languages and suggested that they were distantly related to the Algonquian languages. He used the term Algic for this larger family, and that is still the term we use. Linguists think that this Algic family is at least 7,000 years old. We say that Algonquian and Algic are language families because the languages in these groups are genetically related. Languages are said to be genetically related when we can show that they can be traced back to a common ancestor. This common ancestor is the mother of all these languages and is often called a proto-language. Proto-languages are no longer spoken, but we can reconstruct them by carefully comparing the daughter languages. One common way to represent the genetic relations in a language family is by means of the so-called family tree model. You could think of the proto-language as the trunk, the subfamilies as the branches, and the individual languages as the leaves. This picture shows a representation of the Indo-European languages. This is the family that English belongs to. Like Algonquian, it's spread over a very large area, in this case, all over Europe and Asia. At the bottom of the picture, you can see that the proto-language is called Proto-Indo-European. This branches into subfamilies such as Anatolian, Celtic, Germanic, etc. And then at the top of the tree, you see individual languages. You can represent the same idea from top to bottom as in this picture. Here you see the Proto-Indo-European mother tongue at the top, with first-level arrows pointing to subfamilies such as Balto-Slavic, Germanic, Celtic, and then within these subfamilies, ever smaller subfamilies, until you get to individual languages on the outside of the picture. If you were to compare this picture with the previous one, you would also see that some of the branchings are slightly different, and some of the names given to sub-branches are also slightly different. This is because there's not 100% agreement amongst historical linguists about the exact details of how the language is split off or about the best name for each branch. In this picture, you can see that family trees can also be represented from left to right. This is a representation of the Mayan language family. The mother tongue is called Proto-Mayan. What is nice about this image is that the different branches are color-coded, so it is extra clear which languages form subfamilies. It is also nice that there is a timeline. You can see that Proto-Mayan is thought to have existed 4,000 years ago, in around 2000 BCE, and that the Huastecan branch split off first, sometime around 1500 BCE. So the Algic languages can also be represented as a tree. In this top-down image, you see Proto-Algic at the top. The first split is a three-way split into Wiyot, Yurok, and Proto-Algonquian Blackfoot. The second split is a two-way split into Proto-Algonquian and Blackfoot. What this means, if it is correct, is that Blackfoot was the first language to split off from Algonquian. Not everyone agrees that this is the case. The linguist Ives Goddard, who wrote the article in which this image appears, is a renowned expert in historical Algonquian linguistics, but some people disagree. Goddard shows in his article that Blackfoot has some unique features that it doesn't share with the other Algonquian languages. One explanation for that would be that the Blackfoot speakers had already moved away from the other Algonquian speakers and that their language, which later became Blackfoot, therefore underwent its own changes separate from the rest of Algonquian. Here's a slightly different representation of the Algonquian language family. First, notice here that Algic is not included, and then notice that this picture represents the Western languages to the right and the Eastern languages to the left, so you kind of have to read it in reverse, which makes it a little hard to interpret. Once you realize you have to reverse the East-West orientation, you will see that Blackfoot splits off first in this image also. So the unique position of Blackfoot in the Algonquian family is confirmed here as well. That's it for today. Shoot me an email if you have any questions or comments. You can find our online dictionary, story archive, resources, and recordings of almost 400 conversational phrases in 3 dialects on the Blackfoot Language Resources website at blackfoot.algonquianlanguages.ca.